Yes, the weather is indeed hot. Good afternoon for those joining us. Welcome, welcome. Please let us know how you're doing this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's lunchtime for most of us, and thank you. I appreciate you. I can see the comments. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome, good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Okay, thank you so much. The time is 3 minutes past 1. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. My name, once again, is Bashir Omar, Programs Officer here at Leap Africa, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. Today's session centers on promoting youth voices in nation building through debates. It's an important discussion, and I'm looking forward to having it with our panelists. This is our premier Dissemination Wednesday, championed by our Monitoring, Evaluation, Research and Learning Department, Merrill, here at Leap Africa. And I'm excited to be having this conversation and interacting with all of you today. So young people all across Africa are gathering to solve problems. They're solution providers, and all across the continent, we have seen how young people have gathered to provide solutions to the most pressing issues in their community. However, young people require an enabling environment. They require an environment that allows them to thrive, resources, as well as a platform to project their voices. Their voices are captured in important conversation, as well as their experiences and their unique perspectives. And when we think about these things and we think about, okay, promoting youth voices in nation building, a debate seldom comes to mind. So last year, in the midst of the ASU strike, Leap Africa, through the Nigeria's Youth Futures Fund, NYFF, organized a pilot youth leadership debates competition centered around the Nigeria we want as well. And it was targeted at undergraduates in tertiary institutions. And for most of us, as we followed closely these debates through the elimination rounds, up onto the finals that was broadcasted on national TV, we were captivated when all of the conversations that the youths in our tertiary institutions were having as well. And the program produced so many positive outcomes, and in turn became a case study for an excellently researched paper by our Merrill department titled The Youth Voices in Africa, a case study of young Nigerians changing the narratives through the art of debate. So this afternoon, I have with me two incredible panelists to engage in a conversation around how platforms such as the debates can be used in promoting youth voices in nation building. This is an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to having it. I have with me here Joy Amanabo, Senior Programs Coordinator here at Leap Africa, and Ms. Evie Michael, Merrill Officer here at Leap Africa. And so this program is dear to heart to me as well, because I participated in it. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. Hi, Joy. Hi, Evie. Good to see you, Joy. Thank you for being here this afternoon. It's good to see you. So without taking too much of our time, I'll just hand over to Joy. Joy, please, can you just give us a brief introduction? Just let the audience know about yourself.
Wow, okay. Thanks, Bashir. And definitely a delight to be here with Evie. It's good to have us all on the call. I am Joy Amanabo. I work with Leap Africa as a senior programs coordinator. I'm particularly passionate about issues that affect young people, especially young people in vulnerable communities. So this definitely would be a great conversation to have. Looking forward to everything that would emanate from here. Thank you, Bashir.
Thank you so much, Joy. Good to have you here. Good to see you as well. Evie, are you on the call? Please, could you just...
I am.
Hi,
Thank
Evie.
you so much, Bashir. Yeah, you too. It's good to be here. My name is Evie Michael. I work as a monitoring, evaluation, research and learning officer at Leap Africa. I'm looking forward to just diving right in and having this conversation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Evie. Evie has said it, diving right in. So let's just dive right in. And my first question is to you, Joy. Joy, so when we speak about debate competitions, I mean, to me or to some people, it's like, okay, I hope I've been able to convince you, not confuse you, right? But this debate competition appears like no other, right? So my question is, why debate when you think about promoting youth voices, right? And just talk us through this program as well. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bashir. And yes, it's beyond convinced and confusing. Okay, so let's get right into it. I have a couple of slides just to even share with us how we think about the debates and how we think that this is such a great way for young people to have their voices or their voices to conversations. I'll be trusting the IT team to help me run through the slides. So first off on my slide, there is this interesting and powerful quote I wanted us to start with. So good. Such a good quote from William Faulkner. Yes, and it says, "Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it will change the earth." And I say, if young people all over Nigeria would do this, we will change Nigeria. You know, that point where we come to, where we're not afraid to speak truth to power. We're able to say, oh no, this is wrong and this is right. And we're not just saying it out of head knowledge or what somebody else told me, but we're saying it because we understand it. We're saying it from not just the point of what we think it should be, but we're saying it from the angle of what was, what is, and then what it should be. So that informed understanding of problems and then speaking to the solutions from using knowledge, using evidence, gathering evidence for it. And that was what the youth leadership debate was about. Please help me with the next. So the youth debate is about giving confidence to youth voices, leveraging youth voices as a tool to bring about a transformed Nigeria. And so for us, it was beyond competition. We said this over and over and over to the students. It's beyond the competition. Yes, there's prize money and all of that. That serves as an incentive, but beyond it, it is knowing that you've got a voice. And with a platform to further amplify your voice, there is so much change you can bring. You've got a voice, and it's understanding the problems that surround you and speaking to what you know and what you believe should be that brings about that change. So the youth leadership debate was about providing capacity building for young people across tertiary institutions in Nigeria, helping them advocate and speak to issues from a point of knowledge, helping us thereby collectively shape what we want Nigeria to look like. And we went by the hashtag, the Nigeria we want. It was so critical for us, for young people, for us, that young people understood this. And we took them through We had a couple of them enroll on the program. Please help me with the next slide. We had students from across 25 tertiary institutions enroll on the program, and they went through a couple of modules around research, policy analysis, public speaking, and leadership. It was such an interesting ride. And then across the journeys, we had major focus on capacity building, where they went through coaching and mentoring, went through our leadership courses. And it was interesting to see, to find young people say, some of them, after going through the module on research, they even found learnings from it influencing their school research, what they were working on in school. And they're like, okay, we never even knew that this site, could give us credible information. We didn't know that we could approach research this way. We didn't know that research could be this interesting. I mean, that's the essence of it. They went through a journey of critical thinking. The process they even had to go through, we had 5 stages of the debates, across which we had some of teams fallout and all of that. The process of even preparation alone, we had students saying, my goodness, it put them under pressure. They had to learn to, work with their teams to see how to navigate it. They're like, okay, you know what, you prepare for this, I prepare for this. I mean, an interesting way we did it was we gave them a topic, and we had very interesting topics. I think I particularly found the topics. You should go to our YouTube page to catch up on some of the debates. The topic at the final spoke about transformative leadership, and we also had this very interesting topic on making national health insurance scheme available to small and medium scale business owners. I mean, they were supposed to prepare for these topics without even knowing their sides to the debate. And then about 15 minutes to the debate, they get to know their sides. And so they had to work with their team to say, you know what, you get to know the pros, I get to know the cons. And they found even just seeing the holistic view of a topic so insightful for themselves. And that's the essence of the debates. So like I said, while the prizes and all of that were incentives, for us, it was the exposure into knowledge. And that's so powerful. Knowledge is power, like we usually say. It was so powerful. And so the debate was not just a jamboree of competition. It was such an enlightening moment for the students. And at the end of it all, we had 3 schools come top as winners. The slides to where we have winners, we had UniBen, Ahmadu Bello, and University of Ilorin. It was such an insightful journey. And I'll say that's pretty much how the debates ran. Over to you, Bashir.
Thank you so much, Joy. Thank you very much. I think it's good, and I could feel that, that capacity building session, and also just seeing development of these young people across the program just brought joy to you, and also brought joy to them as well. And just being present there, I could see the growth from maybe the elimination round up until the finals, and it was really, really beautiful to see. Thank you so much, Joy. And apologies. And I'll just move over to Evie. Evie, please. I know this well-researched paper by the Merle Department, which was produced by the Merle Department. Please, can you just take us through this paper? And please, for some of us who have been unable to, get through the pre-reads, I encourage you after this call, please go read this document. This is a really insightful document, and I implore all of us to read through it. So Evie, over to you, please. Good afternoon once again.
Hi, good afternoon, Bashir. Good afternoon, everyone on the call. So yes, I'll just thank Joy. Joy has taken us through the program itself, and I think it's going to make my work a bit easier. So Youth Voices in Africa, a case study of young Nigerians changing the narrative through the art of debate. Okay, so just move over to the next slide. So I think I would like to start with the why. Why did we focus on a debate, conducting a research on debate? Even the picture here shows the person is a bit confused as to why. So I'd just like to even use the example that Bashir used initially. I mean, from secondary schools, primary schools, even though we didn't get to participate, we'd hear, children coming out with so much passion and saying, I hope I've convinced and not confused, and all of those things. And I think if we hear that phrase now, we're definitely reminded of debates, and that's for sure. But over time, debates have taken a certain, have sort of pivoted to a more structured outlook in terms of how it's even conducted now, and in terms of how people are even speaking currently and trying to like influence the minds of people that they're speaking to. Now we have Asian parliamentary debate, American parliamentary debate, and the quality of discussions that they are having, the research that they are conducting, it shows that debate has moved past any phrase or any lines that we're used to in the past. It also shows how, debates have from time immemorial been useful tools to, project voices, to speak on certain issues, that even to just say your opinion on certain issues, it has been a platform to be able to do that. But now we'll just look at the aim of this research, which is basically to explore the role of the youth leadership debate. We were able to use the youth leadership debate as sort of a case study to just focus and zoom in on the benefits of debate. So to explore the role of youth leadership debate in amplifying youth voices for national development in Nigeria, we want to know to what extent are youths able to use their voices on that platform. It's sort of like an informal way of contributing and being active, speaking on issues. So we wanted to know the extent. We also wanted to contribute to the body of knowledge. I think when we were conducting this research, we really didn't see so much information on debates and being used as tools for youth voices. So we just want to contribute also to that body of knowledge that sort of provides evidence that, okay, this is what it is in terms of people using their voices. We also wanted to focus and narrow it down to 2 research questions. To what extent does debate among young people amplify their voices on national development? I think that question is really important. It's really like the main focus of the research. Also, when looking at the capacity building elements that Joy spoke about, we wanted to see what difference does that make to motivate young people to even become more active citizens and even imbibe ethical leadership. So we wanted to also see how it played out in that regard. So yes, how did we do that basically? We're able to collect data in different forms. We use both the quantitative method as well as the qualitative methods. We were able to distribute surveys to the participants, both at the start of the program as well as at the end, to just get their opinions about certain questions, just to tease out insights as to the importance of this, as to even how effective the debate was going to be and what their beliefs were. And then even just holding a focus group discussion with some of the participants across the different universities. We wanted to expand what we had from the quantitative data to sort of, listen to their opinions. And I think that was a very collection of that data from the focus group discussion really gave us insights basically into why and what they said in the quantitative data, just to basically triangulate what we already knew and what we already had. So I'll just move on to what we just observed, as well as the key insights from the program. So to just gauge their motivation for being a part of the program, I think one of the key questions that we wanted to ask them and that we asked them was if they debated before, and we discovered that 87% of them had actually debated before. So they were not new to this. They even, we even had like other conversations as to how they've been able to go beyond just debating. I think some of them had even mentored others into debating, speaking on other platforms. So it was quite good to see that they were internally motivated. They had a lot of passion coming into this from the university while they could be doing other things. So it was quite nice to see that, many of them had already debated prior to this competition. We also discovered that 94% of them actually believe that the debate was effective in projecting youth voice on national issues. So as much as they were there, it was important for us to gauge if they believe in the channel by which they're even speaking. So that was why we asked that question. And it was quite good to see that, 94% of them actually believe that, yes, speaking to this debate is actually going to bring us, going to influence the minds of people, going to, let people know about some of the critical issues that we are even trying to discuss on. So it was quite a good thing to see that they believed in the debate channel. Another thing we also discovered was that 87% of them actually agreed that the capacity building activities was helpful to them. Like our second research question was trying to prove, I think we wanted to see what difference it would make if we indeed just expose them to these activities in terms of live sessions, coaching sessions, other training, exposure to courses. What difference was it going to make? And we had a good percentage of persons who agreed that it was indeed helpful to them. And I think we even decided to go deeper to ask which of them was more impactful to you. And 50% actually said that the residential training was impactful to them. But during the focus group discussion, we had, different views. Some of them agreed that the coaching was most important to them. So we sort of had like an even playing across the different activities, which was really nice to see. Some of them agreed with the courses. Some of them said, "Oh, the coaching was superb." So it was really, really nice to see. So even across the skills that they gained, I think 24% of them said that they had gained effective communication skills. And what's most interesting here is how 87% of them had initially said that they had debated before. So it was quite nice to see that, they were gaining communication skills. And the reason is 24% was because we sort of had almost the same percentage across other skills, which is a good thing, as I think 22% actually said, they had gained research skills. And even speaking on the research skills, I think some of them were even of the opinion that the debate was even more for them than it was for other people, in the sense that they had to learn how to research, right? They had to learn how to gain more information. They had to learn how to speak knowledgeably from an informed perspective. So it was sort of like a new insight for them. So it was really nice to see. 93% of them actually agreed that they had, developed leadership skills. And I think this is one of the things that we were actually gunning for during the implementation of the program. So it was quite nice to see. I think something that really stuck with me, and I'll just end with that, is a participant actually saying that the debate wasn't about reaching people, 1,000 people directly, immediately. It's about the fact that you can reach 100 persons today, and those persons live with that seed, and then they're able to reach 100 more people, and so on and so forth and so on. So it's really more of like an influential platform, and they were really excited as to the outcome of everything. They were really excited about being there, and it was nice to see how young people could even go that far beyond school activities, lending their voices to something so useful. So yes, thank you so much. I think I'll just end with that.
Thank you so much, Evie. I think it was really just good, even beyond reading the paper. It was good to hear you speak about some of these things. And I know you tried your very best to synthesize that paper, right? And just give us a little bit of insights into, what really went on. And for me, when you also spoke about, filling that gap and that thought leadership, and that's what one of our ETA strategies in Deep Africa is, thought leadership, contributing to, publications, right? Filling in that gap within our ecosystem as well. So it was really good to hear, as well as I sat in a few of those focus group discussions and just getting those feedback from those participants and seeing how, how much change there has been from the beginning up until that stage is really, really wonderful. And it was really, really good to see. So thank you so much for taking us through do that paper, Evie. So I will just move ahead to a few more questions for our panelists, and I'll start with Joy. So my first question is, in terms of this debate, we've seen how, how much of an impact it has made, right? And it has just shown the importance of, giving young people a platform to speak, right, to express their unique perspective and their also experiences. So, what are the plans to engage more young people to lend their voices towards these national, discourse, towards these national conversations, so they don't shy away from these platforms, and they also feel like this is a safe space in which they can come and speak as well? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bashir, for that question. The plans to engage more young people. So I mentioned at the beginning, it's beyond the confused or convinced. And it's beyond waiting for a competition season. It's for young people to start thinking beyond their tummies, money in their pocket. To start thinking more about influence in the political space, influence in the economic space, influence in the financial space, the educational space, just influencing, right? And so this makes you take a look at what activism was, years before, when groups were groups that were able to influence global politics. This is beyond Nigeria, influencing global politics, and they did not have a competition then. They did not have a prize money to win then. And so for us is, and how do we now engage multiple people so that in the different corners, in the different campuses, they're having communities where they're beginning to think more about influencing systems, beyond just today on campus, to thinking what I can do more. And so we're trying to leverage partnerships even more, partnerships within institutions more, to say how can we ride on the structures and the systems available within these institutions to pull in young people into more critical and intellectual conversations. And so that's one of the ways we're trying to do this. More into young people, essence of leading change, not just thinking it's about somebody, it's about it's about a more prominent person, but understanding that even you in your own corner, in your own space, you actually make a change, you can actually make a difference. And so one of the interesting ways we're even going about this is big with the leadership development program across campuses to say, young people, there is space for you to work, there is a platform for you to do things, there is a platform for you to contribute to change through leading social change projects, contribute to change using your voice as a public speaker, as a debater, just contributing the change, and it's coming in such a mind way. And I would encourage those of us who are students in institutions to sign up for that program if you haven't, because it's also to just say that we don't even fund these programs. It's driving yourself and your community to constantly having this level of impact. So yes, one of the ways. Okay. So yes, this is one of the ways looking at reaching more young people. I hope that responds to your question.
Thank you so much, Joy. It's wonderful to see, and it's also beautiful to see the plans ahead, right, to leverage more youth voices to national building. And I'm looking forward to the youth leadership development program this year as well, just to see how we can channel young people towards, progressive work in this country as well. And I think at some point in time, just to prompt our audience, you might notice some polls coming up on your screen. So please do well to answer some of those questions and just give us feedback as well. But thank you so much, Joy. And I think also I will then move on to Evie. My question for you is it's two questions actually, because I know you tried to synthesize that document into a couple of minutes as well, and it was a really good job because it gave us an insight as to some of the findings. But I would like to hear from you, like while conducting these conversations or while conducting your research, what jumped out to you, right? What were you surprised to see as well? And then my second question would be, so what's next for this key piece of document? Clearly, it's filling a missing gap within the body of knowledge around youth voices. So how do we ensure that it's getting to the right people, it's getting into the right hands, even to people in our public sector, people in private sector, the people who don't know, okay, debates are able to do this, or the people who don't know the power of what your voice can do for you. So yeah, over to you, Abby.
Okay, thank you so much for those questions. I'll just start with your first question. I think what really got to me was just hearing from the participants that, they have been, so involved in speaking prior to just the competition, and it being a competition, it was sort of like, okay, what really made you come here? Is it the benefits attached? But that's why I say that it was a very good thing that we had the focus group discussion, because it allowed me to really see how these people have been so active. And I'm like, wow, you're just university students, and you're doing so much. I think the conversation even just veered out of just debate. They have been involved in writing. They have been involved in other forms of active citizenship. So it was really a good one to see that they were so passionate to be here. It wasn't just because they didn't have any other thing to do. They've been used to this, and so it was a really nice one that really shocked me. So yeah. As to your second question, I'll just say, I think one of the most important things that, we're beginning to sort of be more open to is the involvement of government into what we're actually doing. And I think that's one of the things that I had stated initially, contributing to knowledge. There's not so much talk or discussion about, debates, how important debates are, its usefulness. So I think from now we have evidence that states that, okay, yeah, it's actually useful. The participants believe in it, that they're influencing the minds of people. We even have like other when we had the residential training. So there's a lot of evidence towards stating that the debate is actually a useful form of expression. So I think government involvement, government uptake through even publishing more of information regarding debate will be quite helpful towards expanding and even scaling this platform. So yes, I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you so much, Evie. Thank you for that insight. I think it's also very important that the right stakeholders get a hold of this document as well, and see the power of youth voices and their opinions regarding some of the things going on as well. And I think in one of our offline conversations, you had actually even rightfully highlighted that it was shocking that some of them were actually medical students, or a majority of them were medical students, because sometimes when we think about debates, we think, okay, the debates are only for people with a humanities or social science inclination. But here we have people in, medicine, public health, actually taking interest into what is going on in the society. And I think it's actually very useful for us, which means, the betterment of our country doesn't just fall onto one group, right? It's a collective effort for us as well. And if you haven't gotten a chance to read that document, please, I would implore you to please just, I think it was shared on the chat a few minutes back, please just go through it as well. And with the polls as well on your screen, please just do help us fill it in. We value your feedback. And so we will then move on to the next agenda for the day, and we'll be happy to take questions. Please, from the audience, please do leave your questions in the comments in the comment section, or you can raise your hand and maybe the IT might be able to unmute you, and you can ask your questions on here. But we'll be able to, once you hear your questions, your feedback, your comments as to what has been said today, and also the document itself. So please go ahead. The floor is yours, audience. Look forward to seeing your questions. And If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, we'll be happy to hear it. Our panelists are ready for your questions. Okay. Okay, I see. Hello, Haruna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Bashir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And thanks to our speaker for speaking. Quite some insightful things to pick up from there, you know, knowing how debate is already changing things, the life of people, and these young ones that participated last year, how they were able to utilize it for social change. So my question is, how is Leap Africa thinking of you know, taking this debate even further down, looking that we want to engage somewhat of a lost art? It's something while we were growing up, we knew that people were having debates in secondary schools. So my question is Leap Africa considering the potential of, you know, hosting this debate even down to secondary schools, so that it will not be that until these folks are in the university, some have already lost interest, some are already thinking in different lines before we will now be engaging them in such fruitful endeavor. So is Leap Africa considering something to do with secondary school to even encourage them from down before they get into university? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Haruna. I think I'll take towards Jesse Doon's question, and then I'll hand over to our panelists to answer. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Bashir. And a big thank you to Evie and Joy for the wonderful explanation so far. So my question is about the debates and how we can publicize debates in Nigeria, right? So my question is, how can, you know, debates become more publicized to the general public, especially in times like this, that protests have become more popular of recent. So how can we publicize debates in Nigeria these days? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I saw somebody's hands raised up, but I'll then just go over to our panelists. So Joy, would you be able to answer the first question, and then I'll just Evie answer the second question. So just to repeat, the first question was basically around what Leap Africa's plans are to kind of expand the debates into secondary schools as well, not just universities.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bashir. And I'm told that my bandwidth is low, hence I had to turn off my video. So please, yes, about our plans to get into secondary schools. That's an absolutely excellent one. We actually considered that last year, but considering that it was our pilot, we're trying to even test what that of tertiary would look like. But there's actually room to do more, especially with those in secondary schools. And one of the things that at Leap Africa we're even really big on is collaboration. To say, are there organizations already doing this? How can we collaborate more and collaborate with them to strengthen what they currently are doing? You know, and it's even from the lens at which we're looking at what's going on with tertiary institutions. So for us, it's just collaboration. There are already organizations running some of these things, and we feel that, you know, just even joining forces with them can help them even extend their borders and spread their tentacles even more and get into secondary schools. So yes, we definitely appreciate that. And just to mention that Leap Africa even carries out interventions in secondary schools. So we can definitely look to piggyback on that and even you know, get to catch them young, as it were. But that's really an interesting one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy, for that answer. And I like your point about collaboration. It's important that we see it as we're working towards the future of young people in this country. So as opposed to duplicating efforts in pockets of spaces, we come together and we amplify our efforts as well. So thank you so much for that. And Evie, would you like to take a stab at the second question being asked as to the publicity of these debates and how we can publicize the general public, how more people can learn about what it is that we're doing. Exactly.
Okay, yes, I got the question, so I'll just go straight to answer it. I think I'll just base my response off what Joy has already said, collaborations. But I think that a significant part that will be most helpful is sort of intersectoral collaborations. For example, collaborations with media agencies. I think they are so critical in terms of publicity. What you see often on your screen, especially in this digital age where everyone is on their phone, watching TV, what you see all the time sort of like has the ability to stick more in your brain. And you're like, oh, let me have a second look, or let me just chill and just watch this program. And then the influence process begins. And I think intersectoral collaborations are so pivotal into about publicity. And I think that's one major aspect. Another thing I would still go back on is government collaboration, just having that synergistic collaborations with the government. Trust me, it's a way to sort of shoot debates to the topmost parts when it's like top of our minds, and even concentrating activities into expanding these platforms, expanding debate platforms. It will really go a long way into publicizing the debate platforms, and even looking at how debates are sort of, more structured than protests. I think those bringing in those factors, government collaborations, agencies, I think it will really go a long way to publicize debates more. Yeah, thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll just go over to unmute the rest. I see there's a Mustafa Ahmed who had his hand raised up and down. I don't know if you're still able to speak. Would you like to go ahead and ask your question, or that was just an error? If not, then I see some other hands raised up. Okay, while we hello, good afternoon, Pamela. Please go ahead with your question. Hello. Hello. Okay, so hello, I'll just move over to Anibeth. Anibeth, are you able to speak? If you're unable to speak, please, you can just leave your comment in the chat box.
All right. Hi. Hello. Thank you, Bashir. Thank you, Joy and Abby. So my question is, what are the intended outcome for the debate, right? What do we hope to achieve with the debate, and how do we measure success that we have achieved the intended outcome? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question. Pamela, we can't really hear you, but I think you can try speaking now. I think we're having difficulties here. You can please leave your comments in the chat box, and just read it out to the panelists. So Joy, Evie, would the both of you like to take a stab at the question? Let's start with Evie first.
Okay, so I'll just go with how we measure the outcomes of the debates. So probably Joy can take the first part, but I'll just go with how we measure the outcomes of the debate. So I think that a significant part of outcome would be knowledge change and just mindset change, first of all, because you're speaking to people, you're trying to influence the mindsets of people. So I think that if you're measuring that outcome, it's either going to be long-term in terms of how they have shifted from seeing a particular issue to another way because you've been able to influence them, or in terms of their actions, which depends basically on what you're speaking about. Take, for example, if you're speaking on genital mutilation, female genital mutilation now, and, I think that an intermediate outcome would be, women no longer doing that or going to traditionalists to, sort of carry out this act. And then generally, just you see a decrease in mortality rate, infections rate. So I think that it definitely depends on the topic you're talking about. So it could be in knowledge change. It could also be action-wise. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Evie. Thank you very much. I'll move over to Joy. Joy, please, would you like to take?
Yes. Okay. So in terms of what we expect to see, so key things really, we want to see transformed leaders and we want to see change makers or activists. So by transformed leaders, is even getting young people to understand that, look, you're responsible for yourself and you're responsible for the change that you want to see. If there are certain things within your environment you want to see improved on, you want to see that it's changed, you are responsible for that, right? And we did this through the debates. It's even understanding that, look, these issues you're clamoring about and all of that, there is first your place to speak about it. There is first your place to understand what the problem is, right? And so for us, after all of the debates and all of the research and, it's getting young people to understand that sense of responsibility. So if there's an issue in your community you feel like you want to advocate for, it's you getting down to say, what's the problem? Where did this all start from? And how do we go about advocating for this change that we need? And then the second part of it, like I mentioned, is change makers or young activists. So yes, the leadership skills that you now have in terms of understanding or gaining the sense of responsibility, then stems down into your action, how you're able to action it. So you're speaking to it, you're writing to it, what kind of creative ways are you going about it? So it's taking that up and not just waiting for the next person to speak about it or waiting for the next person to do something about it or waiting for a season to do something about it, but you're stepping up to the challenge to say, I want to do this, I'm going to change this, I want to make this happen, I want to see this happen, and I'm doing something about it. So those two big things are the outcomes we're looking to have from the debate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. Appreciate your responses as well as Evie. If absent of any questions, I would just like to thank our panelists today. And I think for me, even just listening to these conversations and also respond to some of those questions, kind of took me back to when the debates were happening. And it's really great to see the power of the debate in grooming change makers, as we call them, and influential people. And I'm just looking forward to this year's edition and seeing how the impact is scaled as well. And from my own end, I would just like to thank Evie and Joy for joining me on this panel today. And it's been my honor to moderate this session. And before we go, please, I would just like to hand over to Maureen Kejisani, the P&C manager of Leap Africa, to deliver the closing remarks. Thank you very much. Hello, Keji. Good to have you here. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Hey, thank you so much, Bashir. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, our dear audience. Apologies, I have to put my video off. The bandwidth is a bit low so that you don't have a delay. So really want to thank everyone. Good afternoon to our esteemed audience. We are so happy that you were able to join us at this lunch hour. Like Bashir said, we don't take it for granted that you've joined us on our first Dissemination Wednesday. It's really, really been so impactful. We're thankful to Leap Africa for helping us and enabling us to have this platform, truly enabling us through the process. We're also really grateful to Joy for sharing of her knowledge, as a senior programs officer in the team. Thankful to Evie and Bashir as the coordinator. So much work had been done. Please, let's have the applause in the chat so that they do know truly. I know the thanks have been going on. We also sincerely appreciate the MERL team for all they've done, and all Leap Africa colleagues. To you, our audience from Lagos, from Sokoto, from Bauchi, from distant parts of Africa, Rwanda, I saw Ethiopia, and so many other locations. We want to say thank you. This is the first of several other Dissemination Wednesdays, but specifically to this particular session, they say knowledge is power. We have shared, this knowledge with you, and we want you to know that as Leap Africa, we are ready to collaborate. Please help to share, spread the news, and do follow us on our social media handles as well, because we have so many other research reports that we want to share with you. I'm sure somebody will drop, all that information in the chat. So thank you so much. We trust that this has been a good use of your time, and we do look forward to seeing you at another time. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Bashir.
Thank you so much, Morenike G. Sani. That's our People and Culture Manager here at Leap Africa. It's good to, she said it all. And for me, I would just like to say thank you very much for joining us during your lunch hour. We hope we didn't take up much of your time. Follow us across all our platforms at Leap Africa. Also the NG Youth Fund, as well the Nigerian Youth Futures Fund, which is funded by the Makoto and Ford Foundation. And also, please, there's some polls on the screen. Please take some time to answer them. Your feedback would be very, very useful. And for me, I'd just like to thank everybody for listening, to the Leap Africa staff. Thank you for all you do, facilitating the, transformation of Africa through impactful, youthful projects all across the continent. And thank you so much to the MERL department for the opportunity to host and moderate this session. And good afternoon to us all. And a reminder, please do fill in the polls on your screen, and the article, the research has been shared. So please just click on it and give us your feedback, send us emails, and let us know. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.